All right, after we finished adding and subtracting radicals, next thing we're going to do is multiply. We'll probably divide this into two lessons and do the second one with dividing. The good news is multiplying, just like fractions, multiplying is probably the easiest to do. They don't need to be like terms to be operated on. We just have to multiply. Okay? Let's do a quick little review here about foiling. If you remember this, all right, what does FOIL mean? Do four things. F is multiply the first, so you get 9x squared. Outside is multiply the outside term, so you get plus 3x. Inside is going to be negative 3x, and then last term's minus 1. And this turns out to be 9x squared minus 1. Okay, now a couple of reasons I showed you this example. One is to remind you when you're multiplying binomials, you're going to end up with four terms, then you have to simplify them. But the other one is for you to recognize what happens when you have identical binomials with opposite signs. You notice that the middle terms cancel out. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind when we do a few of these examples. The second thing I wanted to remind you or refresh your memory on is what this means. This is literally the oldest trick in the book. You guys did this last year. You're going to do it. Square this. This is 16a squared. And then I'm going to square this, and this is plus 25b squared. If you do that, it's wrong. Okay? You need to remember that this squared means, and I would write this out, it means you should do this. This is binomial multiplication. You're going to end up with four terms. Okay? 16a squared, that's the first term. Outsides, insides, and last. Okay, and then collect like terms. We end up with 16a squared minus 40ab. All right, guaranteed you will see that kind of idea when we're multiplying radicals. Okay, so we're going to use foiling. We're going to use monomial multiplication. You just have to remember the multiplication property. Okay, just like when we were simplifying a radical, for example, if you had root 8, this is root 4 times root 2. Okay, because 4 times 2 is 8, these two are equal. So when I see 4 times 2, I can use that to multiply. So let's try this. Foiling the first terms. 4 root 2 times 3 root 2, that's 12 root 4. Now when you get good at this, you might be able to do this all in one step, but for now I'm going to do it in two steps. Then it's outside terms. That's going to give you negative 4 root 10. Then inside terms, you're going to get 6 root 10. And then last terms, you'll get negative 2 root 25. Okay, now let's put this together. 12 times root of 4. Root 4 is 2, so this is 24. Plus 2 root 10 minus 10. So this is 14 plus 2 root 10. Okay, let's try another one. Now before I even start to multiply this, you should recognize these are the same, but the signs are opposite. So this means our middle terms are going to disappear. Now I'm going to write them out, but you'll see how they disappear. So first term, 16 root 4. Outside, minus 8 root 6. Inside, plus 8 root 6. And then minus 4 root 9. Okay, so these will cancel out, and I'm left with 32, take away 12, so the answer is 20. Okay? Why are there no radicals in the answer for B? I'm going to give you a word. I don't know if you've seen this word before. They are conjugates. Okay? And you might also want to remember this, the difference of squares. That you should remember from grade 10. Okay, difference of squares are, if we were factoring, say, a squared minus b squared, this equals a plus b a minus b. All right, now if we're going the other way around, if we're going to multiply, you can see how we end up with just a difference of squares. What is a conjugate? A conjugate is when you have identical binomials with opposite sign in between. Okay? So let's try a couple now with variables. Now look at this. It says simplify, identify any values of the variables where the expression is defined. When you do the variables, that should be in the original question. So if I look at this original question, x should be greater than 0. Okay, now we wrote that a different way. You know, if you don't like that, you could say x is from 0 to infinity. That's okay too. Okay? Now let's multiply. So you're going to get 4 root x squared minus 10 root x plus 10 root x minus 25. And simplifying this, I get 4x. Now, I will never ask you this, but in your head you should be thinking, well, that has to be positive, but I already said it was positive. So I don't need to worry about this. Okay? So 4x, these cancel out, minus 25. All right. Here, what does b have to be? B has to be positive because it's a square root. Let's multiply. First, outside, inside, last. And if I collect like terms here, I'll get 21, take away 29 root b minus 10b. Okay. All right, this is just a crazy looking question. I'd like you to try it before I do it. Please give it a shot. Okay, now you should notice there's multiplication here, and this squared means there's multiplication there. So bear with me, you might not need to do this, but I'm just going to rewrite this so I see what I'm up against. And then I'm going to break up this binomial because it's a FOIL question. I've got two of the same binomials. Okay, so I'm just writing that out. Now this subtraction has to happen after I've done the two multiplications. So I'm going to multiply this, and then I'm going to subtract this. Okay, so let's FOIL. I get 9x minus 3 root xy plus 3 root xy minus y. And then over here I'm going to get x, right, because root x times root x is x. I'm going to get plus 5 root xy plus 5 root xy plus 25y. Okay, now before I go any further, I'm just going to say x should be positive, y should be positive. Okay, that also tells me, because I'm already saying it's positive, I don't have to worry about any absolute value, so don't worry about that. We can just simplify this. Okay, so this is going to cancel. I'm going to have 9x minus y, and this is the oldest trick in the book. This, for sure, you will make this mistake at one point. Okay, I wrote this negative here and I put brackets here. A lot of times people just kind of forget about them. You just write it like that. And that is incorrect. You will get the wrong answer if you do that. This negative needs to be applied to every term in the brackets. Okay? So I'm going to get negative x, negative 5 root xy, negative 5 root xy, negative 25y. And now I'm going to look for like terms. I get 8x minus 26y minus 10 root xy. Okay, if I were you, I would do that question again. Get a blank piece of paper, write it out again, try it again. Okay? Now, a question like that, probably going to see like 1 on a test, but you will see 1. Okay? We'll stop there. We'll continue with division tomorrow.